What does a desert wandering chicken and a deranged pack of pasty marauders have in common, other than possibly being your next local warlord? The video game known as Journey and film of Mad Max share a strong congruent thread of themes including friendship, adventure, and the human spirit. However, the most important of these shared collective traits are the lessons they have to teach about dealing with hardship and struggle, even during the most trying of circumstances. Join me as I unpack what I learned wandering through the wasteland. I'm currently quarantined at home during the height of the international crisis, COVID-19. With the inability to leave my house, I have had the unexpected opportunity to experience the wonder that was Journey. In a time when I'm barred from leaving home at risk of legal prosecution, it's no surprise my mind would be looking to wander when my feet must remain silent. Journey is a short adventure where you pilot the Pilgrim, a bipedal bird person cloaked in red, seeking to pursue the crest of the mountain upon the horizon. The adventure begins as you push past the first set of sand dunes towards the mountain calling out to you ahead. Journey originally released in March of 2012, 8 years ago. If by some miracle you've remained unspoiled by this hidden treasure, I highly recommend you check it out. The experience is quite profound and best served cold. When it comes to plot twists, the linear nature of a book or movie may rob you of that surprise as you travel from beginning to end. However, having pre-existing knowledge of Journey will completely void your sense of discovery and irreversibly alter any agency you would have otherwise experienced. It's available on both the PlayStation Network and PC through the Epic Games Store. If you've yet to experience Journey, I highly advise treating yourself to this visual masterpiece. The crew who developed Journey, that game company, put so much heart into this game, they went bankrupt shortly before release. How lucky we are they carried it to conclusion, regardless of the difficulties they faced. That said, pause this video right now, open the Epic Games Store, and download it immediately. It's only $15 and well worth the expense even at this full asking price. Further, this essay covers content from the acclaimed film Mad Max Fury Road. Given the quarantine, now is an excellent time to catch up on media and pop culture, and no better place to begin with the games and movies that may be helpful given recent apocalyptic undertones IRL. Last warning, before we assault your screen with sledgehammers worth of spoilers. Just be sure to slap that subscription button on your way out. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the deserted lands of Journey and Mad Max following your return. Last chance, lifting the veil in 3, 2, 1. As Journey begins, the game starts you with no context, no tutorial, no text pop-ups, no opening cutscenes, no annoying know-it-all character to yell at your protagonist as you fumble around the crib of level 0. Nothing. Through the entirety of your travels, you'll never find anything closely resembling any human recognizable sound or symbols. Everything you encounter is acquired from the context of visuals and the weight of audible cues as they swell around you. Journey instead opts to exhibit and display all it has to offer at your feet. You're given the opportunity to take the helm of discovery into your own hands, the mountain cresting the horizon flirting with your curiosity. Its light seems to call out to you. You know not where you are, but implicitly you know where you must go. As you set on your trek from unknown origin to unknown end, you'll encounter a series of yellow glyphs, manifesting as scraps of your ever-growing scarf. This scarf will offer you the ability to take flight, soaring across the landscape for brief moments, offering a better view of the road ahead and a much simpler time traveling the landscape. Quite quickly, you intuitively pick up on the gameplay loop of searching for scarflet bits, if for nothing else than the sense of discovery and the cool factor of the slowly growing piece of magical garment. Wandering through the wastes of Journey, you'll discover tiny crumbs of storytelling and world building, told through hieroglyphic text, prayer-induced visions, and the dilapidated remains of architecture. Like a weakened archaeologist, you'll slowly piece together a history of the landscape and the fate that befell the civilization inhabiting it. The desert almost seems to welcome you in, enticing you to stay a while, and invites you to make discoveries about the world, about yourself. Alternatively, the Mad Max interpretation of the Wasteland is an unkind thing. Nothing is easy and everything hurts. Every day is a struggle for survival. If hunger won't kill you, your neighbors will. If your neighbors won't put a bullet in your head, the very landscape will end you both. Water is next to impossible to find. Fertile soil is just as uncommon. And the weather is just as hostile as any man or beast that somehow finds a way to persist here. Beyond the similarities of desert vistas, social isolation, the tiniest hints of impending doom, Journey shares plenty of thematic gravitas found among the apocalyptic panorama of Fury Road. Both feature semi-silent protagonists whom seem to have materialized from the dunes of the Wasteland. Both follow a group of individuals as they make their way through the discarded remains of what society left behind. Both are set in a post-apocalypse caused by the infighting of civilization, and both worlds are constantly at threat from further destructions by the relics of the past, be they ideals, weapons, or those who would wield and misuse them. One of the most interesting binding points between Mad Max and Journey is how the game explores human connection through its implementation of multiplayer, or rather how it chooses not to. During the course of your travels, you'll encounter other pilgrims in various stages of their own adventure. During your brief time together, communication is limited to simple chirps as you speak in the language of the avian, which sounds closer to musical notes than anything else. These encounters are always paired randomly and never a guarantee. There is no scrolling through a friends list, no wait room lobby, no ping check. It is only you, your companion, and the desert wasteland barring you from the mountain ahead. The uncertainty and isolation can be just as sobering as the unexpected jubilation when you finally run into another person among the rugged loneliness of the desert. Just as apparent in the cinematic universe of Fury Road, meeting a stranger among the abandoned ruins of civilization can be equally just as dangerous as it is hopeful. The motley crew of Mad Max is composed of a host of different characters working together under unlikely circumstances. Max the Wanderer, Furiosa the Slave, Nux the Warboy. Meet Max. Max is a bit mad. Not in the wall-punching, anger management kind of way, more in the seeing your dead grandma accusing you of causing her death due to abandonment kind of way. Psychologically or spookologically, to say Max is haunted by his past is more than window dressing. Meet Furiosa, an imperator, conscripted into service of the local warlord Immortan Joe. She's more mad in a boss-hating, wall-punching sort of way. Furiosa is a conspirator, plotting to free a host of imprisoned courtesans, commonly referred to as Joe's prized breeders. These women have been held against their own will, acting as vessels to give birth to Joe's children, the next generation of warlords. Meet Nux, a warboy mentally conditioned by the mantra, "I live, I die, I live again." From birth, his social programming has instilled the sole purpose to serve the great and powerful Immortan Joe, where glory in eternity awaits any warboy who meets a warrior's death on the battlefield. While mostly along for the ride, Nux eventually has a change of heart and swaps teams to assist the ladies he had been desperately hunting for the first half of the film. Initially, each is only pursuing their own goals. Nux seeks glory, Furiosa freedom, Max absolution from his past sins. The trio eventually reaches a degree of mutual understanding and come together as a unit, not to exclude the cast of the others including Toast, Splendid, the Dad, Capable, Fragile, and the many mothers, each playing an individual role. Our crew of misfits are collectively pursuing a shred of hope. Furiosa speaks of a green place, the land of many mothers, the place of her original birth, where food is plentiful and the people are safe from the influences of Joe. An Eden where our escaped courtesans can truly be free. The group's voyage from the Citadel is stricken by incredible amounts of struggle. To offer a quick and dirty synopsis of the events that unfold, Furiosa steals a mighty war rig and takes it off an originally planned route. They are then attacked by a local rivaling faction of marauders. Joe, realizing Furiosa's betrayal, chases her down with the entirety of his war party. The rig is pursued by Joe's men and barely escapes by charging straight through a sandstorm. Max and Furiosa get acquainted with each other, fist first. Max wins the fight, but is unable to operate the war rig by himself, forcing an unlikely alliance between an armless badass and a feral wanderer. After the party is attacked again in a mountain pass, Splendid protects the group, resulting in her death. The gang passes through a swamp, where they are attacked for a third time. Nux steps up to help the group escape, showing he can be trusted. After traveling upon the salt flats for what feels like days, the group encounters a damsel in distress. Turns out the damsel is more a siren call to lure in unsuspecting victims. Furiosa is recognized by the ladies, and the group is spared. But then she learns a terrible truth. It's been over 20 years since her departure from the Green Place. Things have changed. The swamp they passed through was actually the destination they had been seeking from the beginning. The many mothers are gone. The Green Place is dead. Hope is lost. This frame right here is when Furiosa realized everything she had been so desperately fighting for was ultimately meaningless. The Green Place, the land of many mothers, the location she'd been promising herself, the Eden she had been promising everyone else. For Furiosa, this was not a simple destination. This was deliverance incarnate. Short of breaking her pledge made to the women in her care, denial of this deliverance fell a mighty blow to whatever may have been left in Furiosa's psyche. The last remaining possibility to find peace in this broken desert. In this moment, Furiosa is completely broken and has given up. There's nothing left to live for, nothing else to die for. Shedding her robotic arm in grief, I interpret this as a symbolic disrobing before the universe, crying into the void of the desert as if to shout, "You have taken it all. I am but nothing. What more could you want?" Mirrored perfectly in Journey, after spinning the arduous task of climbing up the mountain, avoiding the ravenous hunger of autonomous killbots, chilled to the bone, buffeted by the snow, the remains of your scarf scattered by the winds, still marching forward, still coming closer to the crest of the mountain, but it's not enough. Slowly the light disappears from view. Your pace degrades to a crawl. Your feet struggle, barely pushing through the snow. Your life silently drains from your body, and you are undone. The weight of your travels finally overtake you, dropping right there into the snow, so close to reaching the top of the mountain. You die. This moment hit me really hard, which is strange. Simulated death tends to come frequently to anyone who even remotely refers to themselves as a gamer. After facing down the Reaper 1,000 times, I never thought I would have been so emotionally invested in just another game over. Cheated, unraveled, and cut short. Just like Furiosa, everything I had worked towards just slipped right through my fingers. The scarf I had spent so long piecing together completely wilted away into nothingness, and I left the world the same way I came in, cold, naked, alone. I was so close to the end of my journey, so close to the mountain, and then poof, it was gone. How could this happen? Why did this happen? I just spent the last 3 hours avoiding danger, finding secrets, sailing upon the sands with newly found friends and comrades. For my adventure to end here like this, what was the point? As if to answer my question, a cast of figures draped in white materialized from the shadows of the snow. Be they guardians, angels, or gods. Their visit raised the pilgrim to his feet, revitalized his strength, and rocketed him into the clouds. Dodging a couple of stone serpents, you break through the mist of the nimbus. Before you lie the apex of the mountain. Sailing up the last few cliffs of the mountainside, you're swaddled by the numerous flying carpet creatures who inhabit the desert, each of them offering you a speedy ascent, the music swelling as you fly higher, faster, closer to your goal. I really felt a sense of mastery, using the skills learned through my travels, catching a quick ride alongside the majestic flying rugs. This is the first time you really gain true dominion of the skies, a triumphant high to what has been an emotional roller coaster of events. To echo the words of the war boys, I live, I die, I live again. Back in the wastes of Mad Max, a similar ride of emotions is in progress. Furiosa had given up, abandoning the war rig, loading up a small caravan of motorcycles, and riding into the salt flats, an endless desert with no conclusion, where the best you'll find is a fool's hope. Before going beyond a point of no return, Max comes to her, offering counsel. Much in the same way the figures in white came to the pilgrim, Max, invigorating Furiosa and the group with his mad, deranged plan. Why not run through the middle of Immortan Joe's caravan, fight off an entire brigade of warboys, blow up the mountain pass, and race back to the Citadel, where death is just as likely, but where there is hope, real hope. The final confrontation is costly for both sides. New friends are stolen away before we are even graced with their name. Going in, you expect the heroes of this journey to be unstoppable in their last push towards hope. You expect everyone to make it unscathed. This is not the case. Even as their human mortality becomes increasingly clear, they continue to fight against growing danger, knowing full well the outcome they are likely to face. During the course of the final battle, the party manages to kill Immortan Joe and steal his war limo. In a cold way, this is the first time he is humanized, showing how not even the eternal lord of the desert is beyond the cold grasp of death. As a final act of defiance, Nux sacrifices himself, destroying the mountain pass, holding off the war party. In doing so, he fulfills his original goal of glory in a much more meaningful way. This gives Furiosa ample time to make it back to the Citadel, proclaim the death of Joe, and seize control of the fort with little to no resistance. Furiosa had returned where she had started, finding what she was always looking for, the place of green. In Journey, as you reach the top of the mountain, passing through the Gate of the Gods, and making your final ascent into the mountain crest, you're graced with a solemn moment of reflection, as the sounds of your feet, the chimes of your chirps slowly fade. Deeper and deeper into the mountain you travel, closer and closer to the light, till nothing. The camera pans away. You look up to the mountain, and a streak of light expels from the summit. This light, this energy is implied to be you, or at least your essence. Passing over the plains you've previously traveled, you'll gaze down upon the pilgrims behind you, hiking the trail left in your wake, the light coasting above the desert, coming to the rest in sands below. As the credits roll to an end, you wake in the desert where your adventure had begun, ready to make the journey once more. It was here the message of the game was clear. By the end of their travels, both Furiosa and the pilgrim circle back to where they had originated. The physical location may be the same, but the people now inhabiting it are different, changed by the road, altered from experience, molded by hardship, epitomized by the storytelling concept of the hero's journey. Furiosa and the pilgrim have completed their full arc. Journey was never about reaching the mountain. It was never about seeing what lies upon the other side of that hill, or what's hidden inside the light of its crown. Instead, Journey was about the exploration of mysterious and strange places, about facing into the winds of the world unfaltered, about meeting strangers and planting the seeds of new friendships. When you focus exclusively on the end of the road, you tend to overlook the sacrifices made and lessons learned along the way. You ignore the people sharing your same voyage and fail to be present with those alongside you, either by choice or circumstance. The daily steps we make through life will often be cumbersome, dangerous, lonely. Above all, they will be important. The final thing you see in Mad Max is a quote that simply reads, "Where must we go? We who wander this wasteland in search of our better selves." Begging the question, where does one go when nothing is left? The answer? Nowhere. Nowhere physically, anyway, because where you are and where you're going seldom matter at all. The destination never mattered. It was always about the journey.